Imagine preparing for what should have been another routine cargo flight. No passengers, no media attention, just a Boeing 737 freighter carrying its crew and cargo from Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates to Karachi, Pakistan. For the 5 people on board, it was expected to be another ordinary night in the sky, but within minutes, everything changed. A routine flight suddenly became an international search and rescue operation, and tonight, we're reconstructing everything we know so far about the mysterious disappearance of K2 Airways Flight KTA1732. This is Wings of History. The aircraft involved was a Boeing 737-400 converted freighter. Originally built as a passenger aircraft, it had later been converted to carry cargo instead of travelers. The aircraft departed Sharjah and began its flight toward Karachi. During most of the journey, everything appeared normal. The aircraft climbed to its cruising altitude and followed its planned route toward Pakistan. There were no publicly reported indications of a major emergency during the early stages of the flight. As the aircraft approached Pakistani airspace, the situation began to change. According to Pakistan's aviation authorities, the crew reported a navigation system issue while flying toward Karachi. At approximately 9:18 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time, the pilots informed air traffic control that they were experiencing the problem. Controllers immediately began working with the crew. At this point, the flight was still airborne, communication was still possible, and there was every reason to hope the aircraft could continue safely. But only a few minutes later, something unexpected happened. Communication with the aircraft was lost. Radar contact disappeared. The airplane stopped responding. And one of the most important tools available during modern aviation emergencies, flight tracking data, began revealing a confusing sequence of events. According to preliminary tracking information released by Flight Radar 24, the aircraft experienced unusual altitude changes shortly before contact was lost. The data appears to show a descent, followed by a climb, and then a second, much more dramatic descent. The final transmitted position was approximately 155 nautical miles west of Karachi, over the Arabian Sea. The last received tracking point indicated an extremely rapid rate of descent. However, it is important to remember that flight tracking data alone cannot determine what actually happened. Only the official investigation can establish the sequence of events and identify the cause. Within minutes, Pakistan launched a large-scale search and rescue operation. The Pakistan Navy, the Pakistan Air Force, civil aviation authorities, and merchant vessels already operating in the Arabian Sea all began searching the aircraft's last known location. Search operations continued through the night, despite difficult monsoon weather and rough sea conditions. Every passing hour made the operation more challenging, but hope remained that answers could still be found. As news of the disappearance spread, families waited, friends searched for updates. The aviation community around the world watched closely. Cargo flights rarely receive international attention, yet they operate every day, transporting essential goods between countries. Behind every cargo aircraft, there are highly trained crews, professional pilots, engineers, and people whose families are waiting for them to return home. At this stage, there are still many unanswered questions. Investigators have not announced the cause of the disappearance. There is no official confirmation explaining why the aircraft lost contact. There is no evidence yet to support claims circulating on social media. And until investigators recover physical evidence, every responsible discussion must remain focused on confirmed facts. The next phase of the investigation will be critical. Authorities will work to recover the aircraft if possible. They will examine radar recordings, air traffic control communications, maintenance records, weather information, and if recovered, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder could provide investigators with the clearest picture of the aircraft's final moments. These recorders have helped solve many of aviation's greatest mysteries. Whether they can do the same here remains to be seen. For now, the disappearance of K2 Airways Flight KTA1732 remains exactly that, a developing aviation mystery. Search operations continue, investigators are gathering evidence, and the world is waiting for answers. As more verified information becomes available, we'll continue following the story here on Wings of History. Until then, our thoughts remain with the crew, their families, and everyone involved in the search effort. Thank you for watching.